adults in America have pre-diabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Years 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom my. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms can include pain, heaviness, aching, fatigue, or swelling at the end of the day. If this has been the case, then Varicosity Vein Center can come to your aid. Evaluation and treatment of the veins is performed as an outpatient, utilizes the latest minimally invasive techniques, and is covered by most insurances. After treatment, patients may resume most normal activities without delay. Varicosity Vein Center now has 3 North Alabama locations, one in Huntsville on South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road. Our new locations include Madison at Madison Hospital Complex and Coleman at the Coleman Regional Sports Medical Center. You can call 256-715-7151 to set up your appointment with one of our experienced and compassionate team members, or you can visit online at varicosityveincenter.com. Varicosity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
AL cert number 21014.
As the summertime approaches, and if you are in the business for a new air conditioning unit, only one place to call, Talon Heating and Air. Thomas from Talon Heating and Air with us. Thomas, well, this is the time.
That's right. People are needing HVAC, air conditioner repairs done left and right, and we're here to serve.
Talk about the services that Talon Heating and Air can provide.
So Talon Heating and Air, we can come out, we can fix your unit, we can replace your unit, or we can just do maintenance on your unit. We cover all aspects of anything to do with your house and HVAC, from mini splits to gas pack.
In the name of free, Talon Heating and Air offering several free things.
That's right. We're offering a free second opinion. We always offer that year round. And then we're also offering a free service call with a repair during regular hours. So
okay, it's Talon Heating and Air. Give them a call at
256-503-4490.
You can also find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Give Talon Heating and Air a call today.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Well, let these conspiracy theories run rampant. Welcome into this Thursday edition of The Drive. It's a shortened show. Jordy Arman's in studio. Wes Neighbors is in the, we need to name this place. Is it the Neighbors Compound? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, the Neighbors Compound.
I don't think it's the compound, but it's on the farm. Yeah.
Okay, so the conspiracy theory is this. Last night, the NFL released all of their schedules, and of course, we got swept up in a world surrounding Taylor Swift last year. Well, the Swifties are going to be out again because I'm telling you, just take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs schedule. They play on every day except Tuesday. And I understand why they're featuring them so many times, but if you take a closer look at the Kansas City Chiefs schedule, yes, and also a look at Taylor Swift's tour schedule, it happens to line up perfectly with a trip to New York and a trip to Buffalo on November the 17th. So I'm just saying, once again,
it sounds like his people talk to her people.
Well, hold on now. If they're playing at the same time,
no, it's the same weekend. No, she has a concert on the 16th, but it's in Toronto, and it's just a hop over there to Buffalo. So,
do you think maybe that
it's a
she
Swiftie
had inside
world?
Information?
I do know this.
On who they're going to play? Maybe it's just meant to be. Maybe it's just the love is in there, and it's just meant to be.
So,
all that love made the stars align.
Yes.
So the Swifties are going to be out in full force.
I got an ex-wife that'll dispute that.
So the Swifties will be out in force in a big, big way at the Bills Mafia, no doubt. But we'll see what happens there. And I do like, this is the social media time in which all 32 NFL teams, this is their time to shine. But at least for our region generation, and I mean older folks like me and Wes, and I'll throw Drew in there, and Brian, I'll throw you in there too.
I remember back in the old days.
Yeah, but what I found the most entertaining was what the Pittsburgh Steelers did on X, and it was telling dad jokes by current Steelers to James Harrison. And James Harrison, of course, a very intimidating individual. And here is a few of the dad jokes on their release of their schedule that came out last night from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, these are dad jokes to set up the schedule for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2024.
So why did the pony ask for a glass of water, Debo? Because it was a little horse. Why so serious?
What do you call a jet that flies backwards? You might get this one. A receding airline.
Why would I get that? Explain the joke to me.
The hair thing. We'll just go to the next one.
No, we're not done yet.
What do you call a horse that lives next door? A neighbor. Can y'all give me some better questions? This man is scaring the hell out of me.
So there you go. That's a little bit of what the Pittsburgh Steelers released last night with trying to make James Harrison laugh with dad jokes. And all he did was stoic, just burn holes in the eyes of Russell Wilson and a few others there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. How you doing today, Wes?
Doing good. I mean, getting a little better every day.
There you go.
And I'll go to the doctor Monday. Hopefully, he'll give me a better brace where I can travel a little bit.
There you go.
Easier.
There you go. Trudy Armand, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Steve, it's good to hear from Wes from the neighbor's Rosa.
So, what'd you call it?
Instead of the Ponderosa.
The neighbor's Rosa. You know what? That might catch on right there.
There you go.
Instead of the Ponderosa. Yeah.
Right. Watched quite a bit of Bonanza when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Who couldn't like Hoss, right?
Right. There you go.
Little
John and Hoss.
Yeah, yeah.
May they rest in peace.
You know, I always figured Wesley sounds a lot more like Dallas.
Ooh, Dallas. Well, funny you go there. It feels a little early, actually, but I got the email today.
Uh-oh.
I got the email today from the SEC office.
There you go.
For SEC Football Media Days. You're going to be playing that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely be
I've
in Dallas.
already started on the promos.
As we'll try to figure out who shot JR.
Tell you what.
That was the thing back in the day.
No, I never watched that show, ever.
So you weren't into Dynasty and...
Dallas, nothing.
Knots Landing.
Knots Landing, never watched it.
Everybody knows I like Falcon Crest.
Falcon Crest?
Yeah. hate we're not going out there anymore.
I
the
do
best thing
too.
ever happened to me is YouTube.
All right, so what are you watching on YouTube right now, Wes?
Well, I'm not watching anything now.
Well, I don't mean right this second.
I've gone the gambit today, so
yeah.
No, it's
Wes is working really hard for his clients.
Well,
That's what he's doing.
the most impressive thing I've heard is, and I mentioned this the other day, but listen to Coach Bryant break down the film in 1980 when he was 68 years old and everybody said he didn't do anything, right? And watching him break down the film, it was amazing. And all the things he was saying are the same things that Coach Saban said, the same thing DeBoer's saying, the same things I was taught. It's just the way he was saying it off the cuff during one of his shows.
Yeah.
And it was just, and of course, it took him a lot longer to say it because he doesn't talk as fast as Coach Saban. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he got that Southern drawl.
Oh, yeah.
And he
Arkansas.
took his time.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing. And how he was in the thing, you could tell he was talking to his players. And he was talking to his coaches. And it was the same. It was just, going back to that saying we talked about yesterday, the same things win have always won.
That's right.
Only excuses change. And what I think makes coaches the most successful after watching Coach Bryant and Coach Saban and, Coach Stallings, but Coach Stallings to me was not as organized as Coach Saban and Coach Bryant. He was organized, but not as organized.
Okay.
And that's the feeling I get with DeBoer, is when you listen to how he's going to break down his practices, how they do things, what he's worried about, what he brags about, what he talks about not having any turnovers, not having any penalties, having too many penalties. Those are the things that get people beat. And most games are lost. They're not won. We've heard that.
Yeah.
And it's just trying not to lose the game. Is the main thing before you get started.
Coming up on the program today, Gary Barnett is going to join us. He's part of the Colorado radio crew now, former Colorado coach, and also was a wide receiver at Mizzou back in the day. In fact, we need to take an early timeout. We're walking you up to Alabama baseball as they are down on the plains taking on the Auburn Tigers. It's an important weekend for the Alabama Crimson Tide in a big way, and we'll talk about that as we walk you up to Bama baseball. But Coach Gary Barnett, he joins us next right here on The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you've had your eyes on an Explorer, Bronco Sport, or Escape, it's important to note that they now come with 2-year complimentary maintenance. And because it's SUV season, there's no payments for 90 days on any of our SUVs. At Woody Anderson Ford, make no payments for 90 days on all SUVs. Explorer, Bronco, Expedition, Edge, Bronco Sport, and Escape. Hurry in for financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on 2023 F-150 crew cabs too, and lease payments as low as $329 a month. Imagine an F-150 in your driveway for just $329 a month. 36-month lease with 6231 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 5/31/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Remember, 2-year free maintenance on Explorer, Escape, and Bronco Sport, plus no payments for 90 days on all SUVs. It's SUV season at Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
When the biggest names in aerospace, financial services, and electronics needed office and manufacturing space in Huntsville, they called Samples Properties, and they've been doing it for over 40 years. When Huntsville first began to grow, so did Samples Properties. You can trust your business to Samples Properties and their deep knowledge of the commercial real estate market in Huntsville and Madison. When you're in the market for commercial real estate and you need a partner who knows how to make your plans come together, Samples Properties can guide you through all the legal, financial, and regulatory hurdles. And if you just need office space to start or grow your business, Samples Properties is the call you need to make. Go to samplesproperties.com to see the impressive list of clients that have profited from the knowledge and integrity of Samples Properties. For commercial real estate development and consultation, trust your business to Samples Properties, with offices on Madison Street in downtown Huntsville. Samplesproperties.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here with you on this Thursday edition of The Drive. Going to keep an eye on the leaderboard at the PGA Championship. It feels weird to say that because usually when I mention the PGA Championship, it's football season. But, you know, we're in the state of Alabama, where it's always football season. Along with Wes Neighbors, Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton back here with you. And it's a shame that there's nothing to talk about with our next guest. And it would be Coach Gary Barnett, who's part of the Colorado Buffalo Radio Network as well. Coach, appreciate the time here this evening. How are you today, sir?
Oh, pretty bored, Steve. Not much to talk about in my world.
So tell me about the life of Dion, or Coach Prime, excuse me. Please don't say I used the word Dion without using the word Coach Prime. Tell me about this experience so far from your perspective, Coach.
Well, Coach Sanders, when we had to make a decision, Steve, about where we were going to go with the next hire, we needed something really drastic. And I don't think our fan base, and I don't think the nation, and I don't think all the things that are playing out with NIL and with league realignment and those sort of things, we could have gone forward nearly as fast as we have if we'd hired somebody other than Deion Sanders. All of a sudden, everybody was talking about us a little over a year ago, almost 2 years now. But, you know, all of a sudden we became overnight a household name, a household term, Colorado football, Prime, all that sort of stuff. And so I can say that no matter how many games he has won or should have won, we have had a complete 180 turn here with the attention to our program and the interest in our program around the country. So it's crazy. It's certainly not anything I could have done or Nick could have done or any of us could have done it this way, but he's done it. Now everybody's waiting to see whether or not it can actually produce the kind of program that we're going to need going forward to be essential with all the changes that are about to happen.
So, Coach, this is Wes Neighbors. I was I always was surprised, really, I guess, when Coach Sanders and his message and the way he goes about his message to the players are do the right thing, be on time, be early. If you're not early, you're not on time. Sit in the front of the class. I mean, he's preaching things that, you know, it's not what you would think Dion would be preaching, right? If you didn't know the man, I guess.
Well, you can't, you know, I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch all of his press conferences when he first got there and what he's done. And I get a chance to hear the man after every football game. And I got to tell you, the things that come out of his mouth are things that you want to hear. There's things that you want to hear if your kid's involved. There's things that you want to hear if you're part of a football program. And so, you know, he certainly sends a message that we can all admire, and we have. But as you know, in the end, sooner or later, you got to win football games. But at least he's everything that we hoped he would be to this point. And, you know, we just got to support him and see what happens from this point on.
Yeah, and Coach, as you know, being a successful coach as you were, you know that there's a lot of, I mean, he's really in an infancy of his coaching, of being a head coach. I mean, this will be his 5th year as a head coach?
Yeah, no question. I mean, I can remember my 5th year, and I didn't know, you know, I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. I know that. But, yeah, he is in the infancy of his career. And 3 of those years were at Jackson State. And so, which isn't, as we know it, the level of football that he's in now. So he's learning a lot. I'll tell you, he's learning a lot on the run, and he's acknowledging that he's learning a lot. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
You think he's in it for the long haul, Coach, or because there is some speculation once his kids grow through the program that he is looking for the NFL on the horizon?
I don't think Coach Sanders has any interest in the NFL. I think his heart is with young people, and I think it's with making a difference. You know, how long does he want to do it on the college level? I don't know, but you fall in love with the job, guys. Look how long Nick stayed around. All of us stayed around as long as we could because the kids were so much fun. The whole atmosphere of college football is so exciting. And, yeah, it's a lot of work, but every job's got a lot of work to it. And but, man, I tell everybody I never worked a day in my life. And so if Dion gets caught up with that bug, and I think he probably has, then you want to coach as long as they'll let you coach.
No question.
Coach,
yeah.
Talking about Colorado football, what do you think moving to the Pac
Big
12 or whatever they want to call it, Pac-2 now, do you think that hurt Colorado? How did the program that you had going and was going before you got there also doing well, and what really was in the early 90s was one of the top programs in the country. How did it fall so far to the depths it did?
Yeah, it had a lot to do with timing. I mean, I would have been eager to go to the Pac-12 at some point as well, and I knew it was always out there since about 1994. There was a standing invitation to go there, and I had talked to my athletic director, numerous times about the possibility of doing it. And so I think after they told me goodbye, you know, they struggled with Dan Hawkins, and they struggled with the alumni because Dan rubbed the alumni wrong, and so they felt like they had to hire an alumnus. So it came down to two guys, and neither one of them had any head coaching experience. One of them had no coordinator experience, and he got the job. And here's a brand new coach who's never had responsibility, never gone to meetings with admissions, never met with any of the other schools on campus, and he walks into the head coaching spot at the University of Colorado, and all of a sudden they're in the Pac-12. So timing was just brutal for us. And then John, struggled for 2 years. They hired Mike McIntyre. We struggled there. So it was, we had one winning season since my last year there in 2005. Wow. So I don't think it had much to do with the conference. It just had to do with the fact that we had no continuity in the coaching area, no continuity in the athletic directorship. So it was a tough deal.
Coach, what do you think of Shedeur Sanders?
I really like Shedeur Sanders. I like him as a player. Really like him as a player. I like him. I like the way he handles himself after games. He's got a lot going for him, and he's not going to be one of these guys that struggles when he goes to the NFL. He's already going to have that background and all the things that come with it. But he's a good player. I think he'll be a top three quarterback pick next year. Be interesting to see where Ewers goes and the quarterback at Georgia Beck. But he's going to be in the top 3, top 5 quarterbacks next year. And he's got an arm. You think about all he accomplished this year and the few interceptions he threw, and he was the most sacked quarterback in the country. So he's durable. He's smart. He's athletic. He's really accurate, and I think he's a great leader.
Coach Barnett, this is Drew DeArmond. I wanted to ask you a little bit, not on the subject of Colorado, but on one of your former players, and I know he's one of the best you ever coached, and certainly I thought he was a great man and did one heck of a job at your previous place, Northwestern. But do you think the changing climate in college football, and you've kind of talked about it already, how the game is changing and the way you run programs, I just thought it was a very unfortunate ending for Pat Fitzgerald, and I just thought he did a well of a job making that program competitive, and it sounded like they were on the precipice of facility-wise taking a huge step forward. I just your thoughts on what happened to Coach Fitzgerald?
Yeah, and you're right. It's an ending to his career at Northwestern, but it's not an ending to his career because that guy is going to be wanted by so many people. That's a really hard job.
Oh, no doubt.
It's I can't tell you how hard that job is. And to have somebody that has stayed there 18 years, been the face of the program, and to have it work out the way they did. They paid $1 million for a Title IX law firm to go in and do an investigation. And the firm comes back, and they said, look, there seems to be a culture of hazing. It doesn't look like the coaches knew anything about it. Why wouldn't you go to the head coach who's been there 18 years, face of the program, the best player to ever play there, and very successful, more bowl games than in the whole history of Northwestern, and say, okay, here's what we found. Let's fix it. What do you think? Why couldn't you do that? You wouldn't have any of these issues that you've got right now. So I don't know, but administrators they're not cut from the same cloth as coaches are, so it's hard for me to understand them. But Pat will land on his feet. He was in a really tough job. He did a great job, and most of those who played for him loved him, and he's like a son to me.
Well, Coach, I did want to take a look at the schedule, and I see a familiar I mean, when I see Colorado at Nebraska, second game in, I'm like, it gives me a nice warm feeling.
Bill McCartney stories.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was about to go.
Yeah, no question.
Well, it's a night game. It's in Lincoln. We've played them 3 other times in the last 10 years, and we've beaten them all 3 times. And that says a lot coming from a program who picked on them in 1983. I think Mac announced that was our rival, and then all we did was we beat them a couple times in there. I beat them a couple times, but that was a big boy football program, and they
that Osborne fella got it rolling there, Coach.
He got it rolling pretty good. So everybody in the state's excited about everybody in the state of Nebraska and everybody in the state of Colorado is excited about that one.
So, Coach, what do you think Colorado has to do from their from last year to grow to make a bowl game this year?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer is they got to win 6 or more. But you know, to do that, they've got to protect their quarterback. They've got to find a running game, and they've got to be able to play better run defense between the ends, between the rush ends. We were just awful inside against the run. And we've got to shore that up. We're good in the secondary. We can do some things there. But you can't have your quarterback sacked 56 times and average about 50 yards a game rushing the ball. You just can't do it. We've got good specialists. We have a really good secondary. We have great receivers. I think our quarterback's one of the best. But we've got to hold up inside between the tackles on both sides of the ball.
And as competitive as you guys played last year, but the big story, at least this spring, was the transfer portal and the mass exit. At least that was being reported out there, Coach. How was that news handled in your neighborhood, Coach?
Well, I don't think we've all gotten a little bit desensitized to it, for one thing. Nobody likes it. I don't think anybody would ever vote to have a transfer portal. There's facets of it, factors to it that are really good, and I certainly understand it. But at this point in time, it appears to everybody it's out of control, and you guys probably agree with that. But we lost 2 or 3 really good players in the portal, and they were surprises. But what we're finding now, guys, is that they're playing 10 or 11 days in the spring. Their agents are telling them, put yourself out there, see what you can get, and that's what's happening there. So we picked up guys, we lost guys. We did lose at least one really good starter, and at the running back spot. But we didn't gain a lot of yards there, so we didn't give up a lot of production. But we got 2 in the portal at the running back spot that are going to help us. So. One man's trash is another man's treasure in this business.
Right. No question, Coach.
It is because it does feel like the further we go down this road, though, Coach, that at least the noise that I'm hearing from the coaching side is starting to be very uniform in terms of guardrails and what they want. Are you hearing the same thing, Coach?
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be interesting to see who can enforce it, because unless as you guys know, unless the NCAA gets an antitrust agreement, they're not going to be able to enforce a portal, and they're not going to be able to enforce the NIL. It's to me, the only solution is if you make them employees and they have a collective bargaining agreement, which in that bargaining agreement they're limited to the number of times they can transfer. It's treated like a free agency in the NFL. You can do it every 3 years or whatever it is, but you can't do it like they're doing now. This is hurting the game of college football.
No question.
From the fan base and from the player standpoint. And, in the long run, there's mental health problems down the road for all these kids that are running away from everything.
We had Derek Mason on yesterday, the new coach at Middle Tennessee, and he mentioned to us about already seeing some tax issues. And this is just, about 3 or 4 years that we're into this, that he is starting to see 3 or 4 different people, be it an agent or a stepdad or a dad, all representing the same kid, Coach.
Yeah, I know. And there's no rules, so sooner or later somebody's going to get fed up with it and make some rules and give an organization a little teeth to enforce it. But right now we are literally in the Wild West, as you guys know.
Well, Coach, I'm not going to age you, but I know you're sneaking up on a birthday. Anything that you're wanting for your birthday next week, Coach?
Yeah, I don't want anybody to know how old I am.
Then I'm really not going to tell people, Coach. I mean, but an early happy birthday to you, and we can't thank you enough for hopping on with us.
All right, guys. Great being with you. Appreciate it.
That is Coach Gary Barnett, whose birthday, by the way, is next Thursday. But I'm, going to respect.
1946 in Lakeland, Florida. He was born. Yeah. He looks good, though. There's no question.
Especially since he had to coach at Purple Vandy.
That's basically what it is up there. Colder Purple Vandy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's go ahead and take our final timeout. We'll continue here with Drudy Armand. Yes, I said final timeout because we're walking up to Bama baseball as they are down on the plains taking on the Auburn Tigers.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The 2024 season for your Rocket City Trash Pandas rolls on as they return home Tuesday, May 21st for a 6-game homestand against the Montgomery Biscuits. Promotions for the week include Elvis Night on Tuesday, Princess Night on Friday, and a Trash Pandas pint glass giveaway on Saturday. Get your tickets for the Trash Pandas upcoming homestand at tptix.com.
Let's rock it.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Bingo every Monday night, too, starting at 7. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Thursday night, expect clouds to increase throughout the overnight. Low temperatures will be falling into the upper 60s. Looking ahead into your Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. A few of these storms could be on the stronger side, maybe some gusty winds, heavy rainfall. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid to upper 70s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hope you enjoyed Gary Barnett, the former Northwestern and former Colorado head coach, now part of the Buffaloes broadcast network. It's a big topic last year and not as big of a topic this year, but nonetheless, Coach Sanders, or Coach Prime. I think Coach Barnett called him Coach Sanders, so that's what I'll go with. Coach Sanders is a headline writer himself, and certainly turning a lot of people's attention towards Boulder is our conversations with Drew DeArmond, presented by Environmental Comfort Systems. Check them out online at envcomfort.com. 256-308-0032 is the telephone number, as I'm starting to see more and more 90s heading our way next week. And the SEC baseball tournament is also heading our way next week as well, Drew DeArmond.
It is. A lot to be decided. I still think very likely, I think Alabama's ceiling is, just from looking at even if they could get to 15-15 in the SEC, and it's going to be very tough to sweep Auburn at Auburn. It's always tough to go on the road and sweep anybody or even win a series, but I think they can win this series. I do think Auburn is coming off their one series win, and they played better baseball last weekend, but they still have had pitching issues, and they have injury issues to their lineup. Alabama is still kind of recovering from Pastagate over at Mississippi State. But if they can
manage a win over there, though.
If they can at least win this series and get to 14-16, I think they're solidly in the NCAA tournament. They even if they can get one win, but if they get two, right now I think Alabama would be a 3. But if they can get some wins in Auburn, and then get into the double elimination part, because just looking at the standings, they're not going to be in the top 4, so they're going to have to play on drop dead Tuesday.
Yep.
And so you got to win a game to get into the double elimination portion. If they can win a couple of games in Hoover, I think they can be a very dangerous 2. I think they can move up to the 2 line. Now, could they? I've heard some people, and we had Chris Lee on. He even said there's probably a slim chance they could still host, but the only way that's going to happen, they would have to
win it,
sweep Auburn, and then to me they'd have to get to Saturday, which means you're in the semifinals.
I was thinking win it.
Well, I don't know about win it, because if you swept Auburn and then you get to Saturday, you've probably won 3 games because you're playing on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably at 18 SEC wins at that point.
And their RPI, I just looked it up, is 11.
Yeah, and then their RPI at that point, because that would mean you've won 6 games in a row.
Yeah.
So that would mean your RPI is in the single digits. So then you would have a case.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a case unless they rip off about 5 or 6 in a row right here starting tonight. But that's how they have I'd say 10% or less chance of sneaking into a host spot. I think right now their best bet is to win this series in Auburn, win some games in Hoover, and be a 2 seed on the road and be a dangerous 2. And I think that's because I think they swing the bat well. They got one of the top 3 or 4 offenses in the SEC. Pitching has been a work in progress.
Well,
but if Ben Hess,
that's not isolated, by the way.
No, but if Ben Hess has turned the corner and throws like he did against LSU and Auburn, then this Alabama team is much, much different. And we'll see about Greg Ferrone tonight, because Greg's last 2 starts have been average.
Mm-hmm.
But if Ferrone and Hess throw well this weekend, I mean, Zane Adams, the freshman, has done a good job. I think Alabama's got a good shot at winning this series. But again, Butch Thompson's team, I give them a ton of credit. They gave one away the first game against Missouri. Should have won.
Did they?
Would have probably swept Missouri and still been alive to get to Hoover. But they lost that first game and were eliminated, and then didn't lay down. They won 12-2 and then 9-7.
Yeah.
So they're fighting. He's got some young guys that he's taking a long look at, And so I'm sure they'll still have a good crowd down there. So this is going to be really
Alabama-Auburn.
It's going to be interesting. But this is an Alabama team that I think is starting to potentially play their best baseball. They've had some guys step up. They've had, William Hamiter, who barely played at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And then Evan Slight, who's the team captain, had the issues, with the food poisoning, but he also had stopped hitting, and not really been swinging the bat that well. Hamiter's been going nuts. And so he's really kind of taking advantage of an opportunity. And so he has gone from barely playing. I just saw the lineup for Alabama tonight. He's batting cleanup. So because he had 5 hits against LSU, got some big hits. And so he is going to bat cleanup tonight for Alabama. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they can win this series. It would be huge to get a win tonight because it's always big when you're on the road if you can win game 1. But, Butch Thompson, I have tons of respect for him. I know his kids are going to fight. And, in Alabama, what they're trying to do right now is improve their seed line. And then if they get one of these games in Auburn, then I think they're in because no team that's ever won 13 games in the SEC has ever not made a regional.
Yeah.
And then you just already mentioned it. Their RPI is already 11.
Yeah.
So I think they're solidly in. But they can really do a nice job of increasing their seed. And again, they still it's about a 10% chance, but they still have a chance to host if they can get red hot. Now they're going to have to get red hot and go to Hoover and do some big time damage. And again, and I think just looking at the standings, Alabama's ceiling coming out of the weekend against Auburn would probably still be the 7-10 game. I don't think they can because they don't have the tiebreaker. They're not going to be able to get up to the 6th seed, which I think is going to be Mississippi State. But I think they could still get to in that 7-10 game, but it's probably more likely they'd be in the 8-9. And if you're in the 8-9, then you get the Tennessee Vols in the first round of double elimination if you win. And they could face a tough ball club too in the 8-9 game as well. So the SEC is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that you're still gonna.
I have not seen Kentucky. Are they for real?
Steve, they're in first place in the SEC.
I
with
realize
1 weekend
that.
to go.
I realize that, and I know that sounds ridiculous to say out loud, but Kentucky right now is number 1 in the RPI. This is
man.
just ridiculous.
I had somebody ask me that same thing after they beat the hell out of Alabama 23-3 and swept them in Lexington. I was like, look, they just outscored Alabama 23-3, and I don't think Alabama's bad by any stretch. And the gentleman knows baseball, and he was like, I just don't know how talented they are. It doesn't matter.
It's just weird to say. It'd be like Vanderbilt in contention
they play
for the
different.
SEC football championship.
Now, they do play a different style. They steal a lot of bases. They bunt a lot. They play to their pitching.
Okay.
But they're really, really good. I mean, they're a game up with a weekend to go.
You don't win that many games by accident.
Exactly. That's exactly perfectly put, Wes. You don't win that many. By this time, you don't win that. And if they win 2 out of 3 in this last weekend and win the SEC regular season.
They play Vandy this weekend.
I know, and Vandy's got a lot to play for.
They've got a lot
because Alabama didn't play Vandy, so there's no tiebreaker there right now. So they're both playing for seed. So, but Kentucky's playing to be the number 1 overall national seed if they win the SEC regular season. They're going to be a national seed and host the first 2 rounds. They're going to host a regional. They're going to host a super if they make it there. But they can be the number 1 overall seed if they finish this, really strongly and win this series at home, and then do some damage in Hoover because they're going to get a bye. Because the top 4 very, very likely are going to be Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. And all of them have been number 1 in the country except for Kentucky at one point in the season, yet Kentucky's got the number 1 RPI. And that just shows you how good the SEC is. Mississippi State's in the top 15. Your Dogs are in the top 15. Yeah, I just mentioned the Dogs. Yeah. I mean, Texas A&M. They're going to get a bye. But Georgia's very dangerous because they can slug it. I mean, they can absolutely rake, and so I just think there's a lot of dangerous teams in the SEC. I think they'll get at least 6 hosts because I think those 4 I just mentioned, they'll be the top 4 with byes, and then Georgia very likely will host a regional, and they deserve it, and Mississippi State. Now after that, it's dicey. I don't know if they'll get any more hosts. They may have some teams that end up being 2 seeds that have to travel, but I'll just say this: ain't nobody wanting to see an SEC team in their regional after who they have to play against.
The last 2 projections, I've seen Bama going to Chapel Hill.
I've seen, a lot of the North Carolina perspective.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, Chapel Hill, They've got UNC's got a really good program. They've had a really good team. But if Alabama can get their pitching lined up and continue to swing the bats the way they have for most of the year, they'll be a dangerous two. And I mean, but the key in regional play, I've always said this, and I was there last year. Man, I showed dedication for this radio station because I went to all 3 games in the Tuscaloosa Regional. All of them were night games, and I drove back every night and came back every time because this had not happened since 2006 where they were hosting a regional. They were down to their last out. I wish we could have recorded everybody's audible gasp because Troy was 1 out away. Ground ball to deep short. Dude has he's still the Troy shortstop this year, an absolute cannon for an arm. And you're thinking, well, it's over. And he throws it, and he hits the bull. Yeah. And everybody and Alabama scores 2 runs and takes the lead and then ends up getting the 3 outs to win the game. I mean, it was that close. And then Alabama would have had to come out of the losers bracket. And in regional play, man, the whole key is to stay out of the losers bracket. And Troy had that game won. It was just amazing. I mean, and the funny thing was, it almost looked like, too, if the first baseman – who I'll just say I don't think was a plus defender. If he had even stretched a little more, could have caught the baseball. But it was just crazy. It was one of the craziest endings you'll ever see. And I'm sure we could find Roger Hoover and Chris Stewart on the camera because they have a camera, like we do. But I mean, it's just like, whoa! I mean, it was, and I'll never forget. I happened to be sitting right next to the Troy Sports Information Director, and because I was like, man, you guys are going to the winners bracket. He's like, hey, I've been through this all year. He goes, our defense has not been
even
great.
The last time the Bama played Troy.
Yeah, they've won 8 in a row over Troy.
Bama was still hurt
and
still managed to get that 7-6
right.
win.
I mean,
that was big, I thought.
I felt bad for him because I wasn't really trying to jinx it. I was just saying, wow, you guys are really playing well. And he's like, look, our defense has been a story all year. Let's just wait. Let's just wait. This is not over. And then I'll never forget everybody gasping, and then I turned to my left, and he just dropped his head like, here it goes again. Like,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Like he'd seen this before.
Exactly. Oh. And they had one more at bat, but it was just like it let the air out of the balloon like, because but Alabama had a special run last year. It was because I'll be honest, when they had to fire 2 times, halfway, at the midpoint of the season, they were on the bubble to even get into a regional. Mm-hmm. Nobody saw them hosting. I certainly didn't. I thought, well, they're good enough. If they get hot, they can be a 2. And then they just kept winning, and you're like, wow, this is you're just like, they might actually pull this off and host a regional for the first time in over 10 years, and they did. And regional play is really cool. I mean, to watch. I mean, I know Butch Thompson's already hosted a couple of times, and they've had huge crowds over at Auburn.
I want to see if I got the right one.
Pitch. Yeah. Here's a swing and a soft liner into left field for a base hit. Rose scores. Jarvis around second, hustling to third base. It's Tommy Seidel at first. He keeps on hitting. He delivers an RBI single as the throw goes wild back to the infield. Jarvis will come in and score. Off to second base goes Tommy Seidel, and the misplay by the Trojans. Poor defense has plagued them all season long. That has allowed Alabama to tie this game at 5 in the top of the 4th.
So that was right after.
Yeah, that wasn't it. That was before.
Yeah.
Because the one that I'm talking about, this would have been the final out of said ball game and ball game over, and the bull was hit. So it was just like it was crazy, and I believe Chris Stewart was calling the game, and Roger was with him, but. And just to see both of their reactions and Roger's eyes light up, and Caden Rose scored the go-ahead run. I mean, wow, it was insane.
All right, I think I got it.
The belt, the 1-2.
Here we go.
Roll to second, on to short for 1, back to first, and there is your 4-6-3, and there is your berth in the region championship game.
That was the last out.
Yeah, they didn't pull that as a highlight because I'm sure it's more toward anyway.
Yeah, well,
is what it is, but
it's going to be an interesting series because I've seen Alabama with nothing to play for win series against Auburn, so the Tigers are going to fight. They're going to fight to the last out, That's a Butch Thompson team, and this is big for Alabama because Rob Vaughn, it'd be big for the first year for him to make a regional and have a chance to – he's already going to Hoover, but have a chance to get to postseason. And, again, this is a pretty amazing rebuilding job because they only had one starter return. Everybody else either graduated because they were out of eligibility or they turned pro. The only position player that he had come back was Matt Gassetti behind the plate. That's it. And he was a fifth-year guy because he had a COVID year. Everybody else is new. They were either a JUCO signee or a high school signee, or they brought in transfers. And then same way really with the pitching staff because Hess missed most of the year last year, so he didn't pitch very much. And then Ferrone was brought in from Louisville as a transfer, and he was only 1-4 at Louisville, but he was brought in. And then Zane Adams is a true freshman. And so the only two kind of familiar names on the back end of the bullpen that pitched last year are, of course, Alton Davis, and who's been up and down.
Yeah.
And same way, with the righty from Georgia that transferred, Aiden Moza from UAB. They were supposed to be stalwart guys, and they've been. But here's the thing about baseball that's so unpredictable, and why it's much harder to analyze than basketball and football because of injuries, because Alabama's –
Or pasta.
No. Alabama, I was at the game, the only game Riley Quick pitched all year. He was throwing 98 miles an hour. He was supposed to be he and Hess were their 1A and 1B. He tears his elbow up, has Tommy John, so he doesn't pitch the rest of the year. And then, so you never know when pitchers are going to break down.
Mm-hmm.
And then –
Well, everybody's throwing so hard.
Yeah. And
Everybody.
And even within the lineup, like by the end of this, now they're going into this series against Auburn. Max Grant, I believe he transferred from Canisius. He barely played for most of the season. He's starting now because he's swinging the bat so good. William Hamiter, same deal. He came back as a fifth-year guy. He didn't even have to come back, but he decided to come back and use his last year, and he barely played for most of the year. But now he's swinging the bat. You just never know. Baseball is so unpredictable. Think about this. Think about Mike Bianca, who I admire greatly, who's the greatest coach in Ole Miss baseball history. 3 years ago, he won the College World Series. Steve, they were the last team in the field. And if he didn't get in, they were going to fire him. It was already being said. He was fired. They go on and win the national championship as the last team in the field as a 3 seed. They win it all. And then Mississippi State the year after had as storied a program, and what Ron Polk did for that school, never won it. Had teams that were good enough, but you just never cashed it. Then they win it a couple years ago. And then for the next 2 years, they can't make the postseason. And Lamonis would have been fired this year if they hadn't had a bounce-back year. The SEC is brutal. The last 3 national champions are Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's brutality. And so that's why I always tell people that, they get down on it if you lose a series or something like that. I'm like, look, man, just be healthy and figure some stuff out by the time you get to the postseason, and you can go on a run. And guess what? You get away from the rest of the SEC schools and go to some ACC school and bludgeon them a lot of times. Unless you go to Wake Forest, which, you can get a pop fly and hit it over the trees.
Wes, thank you so much for your contribution here over the last 20 minutes.
I've enjoyed listening to Drew. You hadn't said much either. He's just a roll.
Well, sorry.
No, it's all good. And
He's
you know what?
absolutely right.
And it's brought to you by Environmental Comfort Systems.
Yeah.
You can check them out at envcomfort.com.
There you go.
You can also check out Drew tomorrow morning. We will not be on tomorrow due to Alabama softball, and that'll lead right into Game 2 of this series that you're about to listen to. We'll talk to you on Monday.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Tide. Tonight, Alabama stays in-state as they get ready to take on the Auburn Tigers for a 3-game series here at Plainsman Park. Hello again, everybody. This is Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you to the Alabama Baseball pregame show presented by Cook's Pest Control and Centricon, the unbeatable combination for termite protection. Alabama gets to finish out the regular season on the road after the home schedule went very well. Alabama winning 4 of its 5 SEC home series this year, including some victories over #1 ranked teams like Arkansas and Tennessee, and then last weekend took 2 out of 3 against a surging LSU Tiger team. Now this weekend, the challenge is to not only win a series on the road, but perhaps get a sweep on the road against the team that is currently in last place in the SEC standings, the Auburn Tigers. 6-21 Auburn on the year, 2 games back in the win column of Missouri for the bottom spot in the SEC. The Tigers will not be going to Hoover for the SEC tournament coming up next week. The Crimson Tide will be going to Hoover to play in the SEC tournament. So really for the Auburn Tigers, they're trying to spoil Alabama's season right in the final regular season weekend, weekend number 10 of SEC play. On the mound, we'll see the Crimson Tide with left-hander Greg Ferrone getting the ball to start game 1 of this 3-game series. Meanwhile, Tanner Bauman will be on the mound for the Auburn Tigers. Bauman 2-2, a 4.84 ERA. Meanwhile, Greg Ferrone 4-2 on the season, a 4.22 ERA as he takes the ball on a gorgeous Thursday night for baseball down on the Plains. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineups presented by NASCAR. Then we'll have the first pitch of this game and this series between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tonight, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers starting a 3-game series here at Plainsman Park on campus at Auburn University. Before we take a look at tonight's starting lineups presented by NASCAR, when we first pause 10 seconds for station identification, that's 10 seconds for a station ID. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
The Lackey Law Firm, 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Now let's get back to the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Roll Tide.